Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Leilani. You could also call me Lay. Today I'm starting a new book series where I have 3 books by the same author. I'm trying to read all the books on my shelf, and this is one way to go about it. So these are the 3 books I'm going to read. They're all by Silvia Moreno Garica. We have The Beautiful Ones, which is like about a girl who's telekinetic, I think, and her town are afraid of her and they call her a witch, but an entertainer rolls into town who also has the same powers as her, and he's gonna help her out with them, and I think it's kind of a love story. The next one is Mexican Gothic. I'm waiting for the audiobook for this one, but basically a girl receives a letter from a cousin needing her help, and she goes out somewhere to like a mansion, I think, and creepy things start to happen. I think this book was compared to Get Out. I could be lying, but I haven't read it, so I could give you an update because Get Out is one of my favorite movies. And the last one is Gods of Jade and Shadow, and this one is about a young girl who finds a box and opens it, and she releases a god, and they embark on adventures, but there's like ghosts and sorcerers and I think like shapeshifters and like powerful magic. And I'm just excited to read these 3. I think I'm going to start off with The Beautiful Ones because this is the only one the library didn't have a audiobook for, so I'll give you an update when I have one. Okay, so I want to give you an update on The Beautiful Ones. I'm currently in chapter 9 and I'm enjoying it. So far it's told in 3 perspectives. My hair's in my mouth, so sorry. So far it's told in 3 perspectives. We have Hector, we have Nina, and we have Valerie. And Hector and Valerie knew each other 10 years ago. They had like this summer romance and they both fell in love with each other. It's 10 years later. Hector is in town at this ball and he is trying to see Valerie, but she's not at the ball anymore, and that disappoints him, and he ends up in a library by himself just overthinking. While he's in the library, Nina shows up and gets excited because she knows who he is. She knows he's an entertainer, she knows he has telekinesis, and they have like this easy conversation. She is young, she's a very like energetic, people call her reckless, and she's just having a conversation with him, but she's also avoiding this guy at the ball who's trying to dance with her. It doesn't say like when this is set, but it's set in the era where like it's in the like Bridgerton era, right? Like where if you're gonna dance with somebody, you have to sign like their card. And if you're seen dancing with them multiple times, it's most likely you're gonna court them. And there's this guy who's trying to dance with her a lot, and she's not trying to, you know, dance with him. So she's avoiding dancing at all costs. But they're not supposed to be alone in a room together because it's unladylike. So after they have a conversation, she basically is like, oh, you should come to the ball, you should dance with me. And they end up dancing for like 3 dances. She's very excited because she likes him. But Hector and Valerie are still, I don't know if they're still in love with each other, but they still have some type of feelings. But Valerie is, I don't know if I like her. She's already married. She doesn't seem happy in her marriage, even though her husband seems rather nice. She is cousins to Nina, and Valerie is just very mean and rude and bitter and now jealous because Hector is courting Nina, even though you could tell he still wants to talk with Valerie. That's where we're at. We're also at the point where Nina is asking Hector to, I guess, be her mentor in some type of way to teach her how to control her telekinesis because she has no control over it and she just needs help. But I'm enjoying it. This is what I learned recently about my 28-year-old self. It's called aphantasia or something like that. I'll just put it up here. Basically, what I found out is when people read or even think, they envision a picture or a movie, but something clear where you can actually see details in anything. Me, head empty. I didn't know that. So I'm over here just reading, not thinking people see pictures, because I don't know how to describe what it is when I read, but I don't see anything. And this is a very descriptive book, and I know it's beautiful writing. It's just that I can't envision anything. So like the scenery of everything, the details of clothing, not there. But yeah, it's very beautiful writing. I can say that. I just can't imagine anything, and it kind of takes me out of the book. But that's, I guess, my fault, right? Because I could tell this is good writing, and I could also say, like, this will probably be a beautiful movie, even though I'm 9 chapters deep. So yeah, I just want to say that this book is very detailed and descriptive, and even though I know it's pretty writing, I can't envision it, so it's taken me out of the story a little bit, and that's why I think I like characters and character development, because when I read, I can feel everything through characters' perspectives, but I can't see everything that plays out, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm at in life, having an existential life crisis and being sad because I can't envision anything. But my goal is to read to part 2 today. I'm going to be starting work soon, so good morning. So part 2 starts at page 137, and I think I'll be fine. I'm curious to know what's going to happen, because right now Hector's just courting Nina. I'll give you an update when I have one. I finished part 1, and there's so much drama, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it so much. Basically, I told you a little bit about it, but Hector's a lovesick puppy. He just wants to be with Valerie. She has a husband. She's not really into him, but she is jealous and bitter that Nina is into him, and now Hector is courting her, and you find out Hector and Valerie used to be engaged, but she never ran away with him. Okay? And then, is this a spoiler vlog? I don't want to spoil stuff, but oh my god. So there was one section where I did feel sympathy for Valerie, because she's very much into her lifestyle, even though she also hates her lifestyle. Like, she has no respect for her husband, and she's not happy inside of her relationship, but she also doesn't want to leave this relationship because of money and greed and family ties and yada yada yada. But Nina is basically overexcited to talk with Hector and being courted by him, and Valerie's like giving her warning signs or whatever, and she's saying, Valerie sat still, her hauntingly head high, as she looked carefully at the girl. You must be cautious. A man may change his tune, or never sing the tune you expect him to sing at all. You do not know him well enough. It is not advisable to fling yourself at a man simply because he brings you flowers. Be sensible and watch your words that come out of your mouth. You should have not spoken of an engagement without proper assurance. And they go back and forth and have this argument, right? But you think or at least I was thinking, maybe she's having this conversation out of like the kindness of her heart. But it's really because she's jealous that Nina and Hector are spending time together, and they get caught kissing, or there's a lot that's happening, and they get caught kissing. Nina sees it, and everything like blows up out of proportion. So I'm not trying to spoil everything, but I am keeping track. I'm doing notes in my little booklet, and I'm having a great time. I got the audiobook on Audible, but they were missing the last chapter of part 1, and the chapter titles in the Audible thing is not correct. But other than that, I'm excited. I'm curious to see what's going to happen in part 2, because now everyone is separated. Like, they're all in their own locations. So I wonder if Nina's going to forgive Hector. But also, something needs to happen with Valerie, because she is so manipulative and bitter. So my goal is to finish the rest of this. I think it said for the audiobook it's a 4-hour read. It's 6 right now. Maybe I can finish this tonight. If so, I'll probably update you tomorrow morning before I work. But I'll talk to you when I see you. Okay, so I did finish The Beautiful Ones. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed the drama of it all. And I really enjoyed the narrator, because I was listening to this on Audible. I do want to note that the last chapter in part 1 is not in the recording for Audible. So if you're listening to that, I'll make that note for you. But all in all, this was really good. I enjoyed, I haven't read I tried to read Pride and Prejudice. I didn't like the writing. But this is for people who like Pride and Prejudice and like Bridgerton, like all the drama. I've watched the movie, loved it, and watched the TV series for Bridgerton, and I loved it. So that that type of drama is in here. It's historical romance. It's watching people court each other. It's unrequited love. It's betrayal. It's revenge. It's a whole lot of stuff. And the characters, even though I didn't like a lot of characters in here, specifically Valerie, I enjoyed it. Like, it's so good. On the back, I remember, like I mentioned, like, it talks about Nina having telekinesis, and so does Hector, because he's a performer and he does all these tricks and stuff. But I feel like it didn't play as much of a role as I thought it was going to play, because it says like the town is scared of her, or people call her the Witch of Old House, and for some reason I was like, oh, it's going to be scary. But it's, a lot of people think Nina, the main character, one of the main characters, they just think of her as like young, naive, and innocent, and uncontrollable. And her powers, she doesn't know how to control, because nobody in her life has them. And Hector basically teaches her how to use her powers so she doesn't hurt herself or anybody. But other than that, it doesn't play that much of a big role in it until the very end. So I don't want to spoil anything. So I'm gonna say, that's all I'm gonna say. I think that's all I'm gonna say. Right? I think so. I think that's all I'm gonna say. I do like this book a lot. I did get the audiobook for Gods of Jade and Shadow. It just came in on my app for Libby. And my friends, this is my friend's book as well. So these two are both my friend's books, so I'm gonna take out my tabs anyway. So she already started this. I don't think she finished it. There's only like 2 tabs. But I'm gonna start this. I will update you around like page 50, because I don't really know what it's about other than some girl opens a box and there's a god inside. But I'll give you an update when I have one. Okay, so I am on chapter 15 of Gods of Jade and Shadow, and there is a lot that is happening. It's told on 2 point of views so far, and we're following around, one point of view is Cassiopeia. She is 18 years old, and she lives with her family, like her mother, her grandpa, and some cousins and aunties, and they treat her so badly. It pisses me off how bad they treat her. And she basically can't do anything with her life. She has no freedom, and if she does anything wrong, she gets punished for it. And this could be verbally or physically. The other perspective is of her cousin Martin, and he is trash. He's trash because he's jealous of her, because she's very outspoken and unladylike, and he doesn't like that about her, because he feels like he needs to be dominant over her and she needs to obey everything he says, because when the grandfather dies, he's gonna be basically the lord of the house and she has to bend to his will, and she's not that type of person. One night when she is forced to like clean everyone's rooms, but one night when she's forced to clean everyone's room, she's in her grandpa's room cleaning, and she comes upon this like box, and she ends up opening it, and it releases a Mayan death god named Unkame, and he has been sealed for a while, like a long time. I forgot how long they said. Maybe it's like 50 years. And basically one of his relatives, I believe, made a deal with her grandfather, and they sealed him in this box, so that god could take over. But now he is released. He has tied his life form to Cassiopeia, and in order for her to be undetached from him, they have to go through all these, I don't want to say trials, but they're basically on an adventure. So she leaves the house, and now the other god is really upset, and he's like, if you don't get them back and lock him back up, I'm going to make your life hell, and all the riches I gave you, you being famous, basically, it's not gonna happen. Like, I'm taking away all of that if you don't get him back and lock him up. And he sends Martine to go find her, and he's being very manipulative, and he's basically like, if you bring him back and you come back with us, we'll listen to what you have to say, your side of the story, and we're gonna treat you better, and we're gonna give you everything you want. but also we're in his head, so we know he's a liar. Um, but while that's going on, Cassiopeia and the death god are basically semi flirting with each other. So it's a very, I don't know if it's going to be like a romance, but he finds her beautiful and she's not used to people calling her that. So it's interesting because you're getting to know everyone's background. I'm going to continue reading. I'm listening to the audiobook and I'll give you an update. Maybe I'll just give you an update when it's done since I'm halfway through. Give you an update soon. Okay, so it's later in the day. I'm like 100 pages away from finishing, but I don't really know if I really said what is happening. So basically, Hakunae is, or was, the god of death, the god of shadows. He was the ruler of all of that. But then he got betrayed by his younger brother, Vukume, and basically beheaded and then shoved into this box that held him captive for like 50 years. And that was with the help of Cassiopeia's grandfather. So when he escaped, he ended up tying his life to Cassiopeia, so she has like a bone shard in her wrist, and he's draining her life form to keep alive, because right now he's starting to become immortal and he doesn't want that. He wants to go back home. He wants to be a god. So they have to go through all these like trials, adventures to get certain objects to make him be able to go back home so he could become a god. But while this is happening, his brother is upset and asked Martine to search for them, bring them back so he could lock up his brother again. And now, since Cassiopeia has been hanging out with him for a while now, he's getting more humanity, or I would say like he's becoming more human. And you could tell that they both care for each other and they both kind of find each other attractive, but they're not making a move. And now we're at the like 100-page mark, or 100 pages away to being finished, where she's starting to realize she doesn't really know the old him. She only knows present day him, because they're about to go back to his brother to make like a deal. And they're talking, and Hakunae wants vengeance. He wants his revenge for being locked up, for being beheaded, for being betrayed. And she responds with, that was your plan then? You're going to do exactly the same as he did to you? She said, taken aback by the harshness of his words. It hardly seemed right. It had always been the plan. Cassiopeia stepped away from Hakunae, rubbing her left arm. The ache reached far beyond the wrist, a constant through dull pain, but worse than it came into her hand. The gods don't fight with swords, but they can be as petty as men, she mused. And then she's like thinking to herself of like, how did they become, like, how did they get to where they are today? So she starts asking him questions, and she's like, did you guys always hate each other? And his response was, we're both different principles of the same thing. It is impossible for us to exist in a constant hatred any more than a moon can despise the stars. So then she comes to this realization that her life is mirrored by his and his brother's life. So basically, she's currently in the shoes of his youngest brother, because he talks about like, my brother wanted more. There's a status in eternity, but he did not. I am the senior of two, the ruler of night. He questioned me, spoke when he shouldn't, did not show the appropriate difference. It was there, the resentment. This is not the same as hate. And then she was asking like, you guys didn't talk about it, and they didn't. Like, their communication wasn't there because they both had resentment or hatred for each other, so they like kept silent and just let the feelings like build up until like he got beheaded. And she comes to this realization. It says, she realized with a shock that she might have more in common with Vukume than she did with his brother. And then she was thinking about her time with Martine and how he treated her, where it's like she needed to kneel before him, like he was better than her, and he would get upset when she would talk back and try to get her in trouble, and make her feel belittled. And then she says, maybe it hurt for him, Cassiopeia said, watching you have the last word, having to follow each of your commands. And he said, are you saying it was right for him to do this to me? Hakume said, rising from the chair and pointing at his face, at the eye patch that had the empty eye socket. She stood up, echoing him. It was wrong, but I have the feeling you were cruel, that who you are now is not a reflection of who you are before. And then he responds with, anyone who expects sweetness from the grave is a fool, he declared. And she says, not sweetness, but, I don't know, kindness? It's strange. Perhaps it is because I am dying that I do not want others to die. I want everything to live. And I love her. I love her. Despite, like, her having a horrible life, having a horrible family who treats her like trash, she wants the best for everybody, and she just wants to be free. So I'm curious to know what's going to happen, since I only have 100 pages left. They're about to see his brother. And, I don't know. I wouldn't say, because I was like, oh, maybe it's going to be a romance. But if there's only 100 pages left, it's just slow burn. And he was talking about how, like, when he goes back to his world, he's going to forget her. So, I'm curious to know what's going to happen. But I'm enjoying it. So when I'm done, I'll give you an update and talk to you later. I started Mexican Gothic. I'm really enjoying it. I am currently on chapter 10, which is page 105. So I have right now 3 color systems for tabs. So I have red, which is basically red flags or anything that makes me uncomfortable. Purple is basically anything resembling the house or the family. And yellow is just any quotes that I really like. And basically we follow Naomi, and she goes to visit her cousin Catalina's house because her father gets a letter and requests that she go there because she thinks her husband is poisoning her, and she's also having all these visions. So Naomi goes over there, and a lot of stuff is happening. One, it doesn't seem like Catalina's husband cares about her. 2, the grandfather's creepy as hell. 3, there's not hella rules, but there's a lot of rules in the house that are very strict, and if you break those said rules, you will get scolded. And then right now Naomi has been there for a few days, I think, and she is experiencing nightmares, and some of the nightmares are really bad. But I am trying to keep track of stuff, so I have like little tabs here, and it's what I think is causing hallucinations, visions. So the first one is they kept mentioning sickly sweet tea, and then now they've just talked about mushrooms that are grown in their garden, in their greenhouse near the cemetery. And then I'm also doing, like, right here, a lot of people said that this book reminds them of Get Out, so it makes sense because the Doyle family who lives at this mansion called the High Place is very judgmental, has a superior complex, and it's a very tight-knit group, and they have their secrets and dark past, but I'm enjoying it. I know I need to finish the audiobook today because it's due to the library, so I plan on finishing this today. Other than that, I'm having a good time. I will give you an update. I will say, because there's, I don't know the dude's name. I'm not really caring about the guys in here. So I think Catalina's husband's name is like Virgil. He sucks. And then he has a cousin, a brother there. I don't really know how they're related. Named Francis, who is maybe could be attractive, but less attractive than Virgil, that Catalina has been flirting with, but I think something's up with him. He's very sketchy, as in, like, he seems like a good guy, but I feel like he's gonna be a bad guy at the end. And then the grandfather, Howard, is just a creepy old man who had 2 wives. His first wife died or got murdered. Something happened. Well, she's dead. And then he ended up marrying her sister. So he has like 2 portraits of them in their house. And he was talking about like how they look aesthetically pleasing and how beautiful they are. And basically that's what women are for. But he was touching Naomi he was talking to her and she was getting creeped out, and then that same night she basically had a dream about him touching her inappropriately, and then Virgil also touching her inappropriately, and I was like, no. But other than that, I'm curious to see what happens. I'll give you an update later. Okay, I'm currently on chapter 19, which is almost 200 pages into Mexican Gothic. I'm enjoying it. There's a lot happening. We're getting more backstory on the house, on people who used to live at the house. There was this dark, twisted story of like a mass murder in the house. But here's what's happening. First of all, I think I said the main character's name wrong. I think I called her Naomi. It's pronounced Noemi, and she is going through it. She's being gaslit by people. She's being like talked down to. She is also hallucinating, or she's having these nightmares that are very disturbing, very realistic, and it involves the men in the house, and I don't like it because it's making me feel gross. But I think we could trust Francis, who is the cousin of Catalina's husband, Virgil. We don't like Virgil. Virgil's trash. We don't like his dad, who is Howard. He's also trash. We don't like the mother. She's also trash. But Virgil's been trying to tell Noemi to leave the house. He's like, you need to get out the house. Get your cousin and leave. But he's very... something's off with him. But I don't know if it's him or the people surrounding him. Because he seems like a nice guy, which is why I was like, he could be a bad guy. But he's very lonely. It's been said multiple times that he has to stay in this house. And I don't know why. But Francis and Noemi are getting closer together. But people are trying to make sure they're not. And Virgil's getting like jealous and weird and territorial over her. But also he's being creepy. And I don't like him. We do learn more about the history of the house. We do learn about people who used to be alive that used to live at the house. There was a mass murder. Going into more backstory of that. And then we also learn that Virgil, Catalina's husband, was previously married before, and his wife left him. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen next, and I'll update you when I'm done, because I only have 100 more pages left. So, see you soon. Okay, so it's later on in the night. The lighting's kind of off, but it is okay because I finished Mexican Gothic. I am giving this book a 4-star. 4.5. I enjoyed the audiobook. I enjoyed the writing style. I really enjoyed the details, and our main character, love her because she is very girl boss, get shit done, doesn't trust anybody because she knows things are wrong, and doesn't mind breaking the rules. I originally picked this book up because people were comparing it to Get Out, and I see the elements from Get Out in this book. I would also say it reminds me of the movie Ready or Not, but it also reminds me of the TV show The Last of Us. So there's all a little bit of elements in it. If you're curious, I don't know if it's spoilers. It could be spoilers. But like anything that's reminiscent of like the tea stuff reminds me of Get Out. Also how the family is very, what were they talking about? Superior and inferior type of family. How they acted towards Noemi, like they were really disrespectful. So that element reminded me of Get Out. The element for Ready or Not from this book is getting married into a family that's messed up. And then for The Last of Us, anything that involves fungus, because it talks a lot about fungus, anything that's like fungus or mushroom related, that reminds me of The Last of Us. I did write down in my notes, I was trying to figure out if I could write down the plot or elements of why everyone was having weird dreams or visions or going insane. I got the elements for those right. The plot I wouldn't have imagined. But I enjoyed this all in all. Tomorrow I'll give you a ranking of all the books and my final thoughts. So see you later. Okay, so I was editing this video and I just noticed one of my clips got corrupted, but I ended up giving Gods of Jade and Shadow a 3-star. A 3-star, and I really enjoyed the ending. It's basically a race to, like, it's not a, what was it a race to? Like, a capital, an empire between Martine and Cassiopeia, and whoever wins means that's what God wins. And I enjoyed it. It was very descriptive. It would probably be like a good movie, like a good like TV show. Like it kind of reminds me of, what is it, Moon Knight. So yeah, so I'm gonna give you like a full ranking of all of them since I also didn't close out the vlog. So this was a 3-star, oops, 3.5, and then a 4-star. I really enjoy this author's writing a lot, so I'm gonna read more books by her. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next vlog. Bye.